unemployed and re-employed in the same town. And as a child aged about 5 is when I started to get an interest into art and design. My first successful drawing was of Asterix, the cartoon character from the kids' comic, which my uncle was really impressed with. And seeing the look of astonishment on his face, I think it was really drove me to deliver art ever since that young age. At the age of 12, I'm going to jump about a bit, so try and bear with me. At the age of 12, Sir Clive Sinclair also released the ZX Spectrum to the market, of which I had a 48. But I was more interested in playing the 8-bit games that were on tape, etc. Now, the reason I mention this will come a bit more apparent later, because my interests in art have also gone along with the PC gaming technology. I went to secondary school from the ages of 11-16, where I took O-level exams in art, technical design, maths, English and combined art, which is where you draw and then create it. At the age of 16, leaving school, I wanted to go and become a graphical illustrator, primarily in paint for books and birds and wildlife. As at school, a lot of my work had been based upon ornithology, which is a study of birds, and botany, which is a study of flora and fauna. As I know it's a highly competitive market, I knew I'd have to move on to my education at attend college and develop my skills further. 3 years later, after attending college, I'd completed no levels in photography, contemporary art, and then also done A-level and BTEC diploma in graphical design. During my final year of my diploma, I undertook a 2-week placement in a London art studio, where the lead artists were doing the proof work for British Airways. There was a team of 6 PC and Mac users using basic CAD packages at the time, and a very talented brush artist whose name I wish I could remember. During those 2 weeks, I built a rapport with all the team, and it became evident that the digital medium was the next evolutionary step in art and design. That radical view for myself at the time, sort of swayed my focus away from more traditional handheld mediums, replacing pen and brush in my right hand with a mouse and a light pen. Excuse me. Once I left college with all my qualifications, I spent about 6 months trying to get a junior placement in some studios on and around the Harlow area, but no one was hiring. And so I used my photography qualification to move on into a career of photo processing stores, basically somewhere you drop photos in and develops, etc. Stayed there for 3 years, in which time I ended up managing a local store, and the company owner wanted me to move on to a district management role, which I wasn't interested. But I still had a passion for art and creating. During these 3 years, I did do some commission artwork for a local individual that really liked some of my artwork I was creating in my spare time. He purchased 3 items of my work when I was aged 20, and today they remain the only 3 items I've successfully sold. They still remain on the walls at his house today. The guy still lives in town. Now, I mentioned earlier about my interest in games when I was about 12, so when the opportunity came for me to move on in my adult career into the computer industry, primarily in the distribution sector, I jumped at a chance. The company was called Gem, and they shipped all the major titles all over Europe for Microsoft, Corel, Lotus, Sega, Sony, and tens of thousands of more different. The added benefit of the company allowed me to try out and showcase products, which was fantastic. I've only had the option to try it for free, but I had no computer, not enough money to purchase one, and no tech know-how to even operate one. So one of the managers would teach me on a one-to-one basis over my first 2 years. It taught me everything I needed to know about the mechanics and protocols of memory, networking, CPUs, etc. And in fact, Gem gave me an old 286 CPU PC that they were going to dispose of, and this was my first own PC. Approximately 20 years and 2 different employment careers later, including Nortel Networks, was my last employer. I'm currently unemployed at the moment. I've tried almost every digital art application on the market, but about 6 years ago I found a particular niche program that really captured my eye, called Mojo World by Pandromeda. It was different how? Well, it was able to calculate on a planetary scale mathematical fractal algorithms for terrain generation, unlike other applications at the time that plotted terrain on just patches. Mojo World for me was not exactly what I wanted to do as terrain landscape art, but I found its results obtained versus the amount of input required yielded the best results that were almost photorealistic. I volunteered to do some beta testing for the final release, which is currently at 3.1. I've spoken in long conversations with Professor Kenton Musgrave, whose nickname is Doc Mojo, on the future of 3D art. We both come to the conclusion that procedural art or mathematical art in a digital environment was one of the fastest ways to quickly convert creative elements into virtual realities, and Doc Mojo's mission was to try and make available in real-time rendering the ability to explore a whole galaxy of planets, not just the universe and beyond. Today, we're still waiting for the PC technology to be able to compute all of the requirements. If you're interested more in procedural terrain generation, Doc Mojo has published a book on the subject he wrote back in the late 90s called Texturing and Modelling: A Procedural Approach by F. Kent Musgrave. I'll post it up on the WA Genesis forums, a link for the ISBN number, etc. if you're interested. In approximately September 2008, Nortel announced the new development called Web Alive that used the Unreal Engine for creating virtual environments. Now, as a gamer, artist, and a bit of a virtuality freak, I showed Arne Heinem, who appeared to publish this video on the subject, some of my Mojo World artwork, and volunteered to support the team, primarily with creating skyboxes and other texture works, as I wasn't familiar with the Unreal technology in the engine. Arne seemed pretty impressed with my work and packaged me into a virtual team across the globe, but predominantly based in Canada, and we took on a first team project for the Ronald McDonald charity auspices. During this time, I learnt the engine, its quirks, the Web Alive benefits, and growth in the team on a very professional and also a personal level. This team imparts me forward onto other projects, which I have also been involved in, but more on a freelance capacity rather than voluntary. As such, I finally made some money doing what I actually want to do for a living. Almost 34 years after seeing the first look at my uncle's face, I can make others smile and earn some cash at the same time. So it's a long dream realised. So looking back, I'm quite fortunate things kind of evolved in parallel. My interest in art and the development of the PC industry and digital design. But the basic elements of digital art rely heavily on the teachings of the most basic of art concepts, learning the basic balance of composition, saturations, hues, tones, and use of complementary colours, minimalism, as well as many, many other aspects. The digital realm, although diverse in many ways, is also very uniform in others. For example, use of layering and texture creation, or UV maps in applying textures to mesh surfaces. Even the creation of 3D geometry and outputs are all common, just done in different applications. It's only recently, in the last 2 years, that digital applications have started to communicate with each other to try and support the artist in a workflow, allowing a creation from one app to be migrated into another app and back without loss. In the past, this has always been a case of create, save, and import. But there have been inherent problems with the nature of formats. Application X did this, application Y did that. Once you know how to drive a 2D or 3D digital art application, you can pretty much use any similar application. Maybe use a different approach, but the foundations are the same. The future for me is hopefully to continue creating 3D work and earn some money at doing so. Web Alive has a lot of potentials. And in all honesty, I'd like to find us by saying digital art or even contemporary art just takes too long to program or create. The imagination works faster. Okay, so I'm now going to move over to some slides. As you can see, hopefully I've now done my introduction. Hopefully I didn't bore you with that. If you've got any questions, then please, by all means, just put your hand up, shout out, etc., and I'll try and answer your questions as we go. So the next part of what I would like to present has been, what have been my main art motivators in my artwork and my creation. So if I was to, I've broken it out into two key areas, traditional art and digital art. And the reason I've broken it out is because there is a divide between traditional and digital, and it's actually quite a big topic around the digital versus traditional art. Chris, sorry, did you want something you wanted to say?
No, I was just coming closer to see the slide better.
Sorry, Chris. Yep, I'll do that in a gap. Okay, I'll try and talk a bit slower. Apologies.
No, it's fine. I couldn't see the slide from back there.
Chris, sorry, can you stand to the mic?
Oh, you gotta stand it. Does that work?
That's better.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that. I was just coming closer so I could see the slides better.
Okay, no problem. Sorry, mate.
No problem.
Chris, you know that you can zoom into slide, right? If you put your cursor on the slide and with your mouse in the middle rolling button, you can roll in and zoom into slide. Everyone can try that.
Excellent.
Yes, that's the way to see the presentation. Otherwise, just zoom in. Yeah, everyone, please put your cursor on the slide surface, and with your mouse middle rolling button, roll in to zoom on. Lamia is coming as well. Okay.
Okay, cool. I'll carry on. Okay,
Yes,
cheers,
please.
guys. Okay, so I've broken out into two key areas: traditional art